I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We continue in our reading in the Gospels. We are in the last week. We're actually still in the Passover. I thought we were a couple days after the Passover, but we're not. We're still on the Passover. This is where Christ is tried by the people, the priests. Peter denies him. Then we read about his trial before Pilate. They took him to Caiaphas, then they took him to Pilate. Pilate sends him to Herod, and Herod sends him back to Pilate. Pilate eventually decides there's no reason to kill him. But the Jews are vehement about him being convicted. So that's where we left it. And now we're going to read what happens at the end of these trials. We're going to pick this up first here now in Matthew. In this video, we have a Joseph Smith translation. And what the Joseph Smith translation is, this is a translation or correction done by Joseph Smith to restore those passages that have been lost or corrupted over the years. Matthew chapter 27, verses 15 through 26. Now at that feast the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would. And they had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you, Barabbas or Jesus, which is called Christ? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with this just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas, and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate saith unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and on our children. We don't get a lot of information about Barabbas in this section, so we won't make too much of a comment on him right now. All that we know here is that he is a notable prisoner. In other words, people know about him. He's been in the news. And Pilate, this is still the Passover, and it's been kind of a custom ever since the Romans conquered, that in honor of the local feast, they release a prisoner. And he gives them an option, Barabbas or Jesus. Now, knowing that this would be the case, knowing that the option or the tradition of releasing a prisoner was there, the Pharisees and the chief priests convinced the people beforehand to ask for Barabbas. Now, did they just say Barabbas specifically, or did they just say, well, when he gives you an option, pick anybody but Christ? I think it's more likely that, and it just happened to be Barabbas, and so that's the way that Matthew records it. Note also that Pilate's wife had a dream. She was given basically a vision from God, telling her that Pilate needed to stay out of the affair. And I think that's what Pilate did. Pilate thought his only business was, let's see if I can save his life, because he knew Jesus. He knew that the only reason they were turning him over to be killed is because they were jealous of him. They were envious of him. They knew that Jesus was the Christ. They knew that he was ascending. He was gaining followers, and they were envious. They wanted to kill him for it. Pilate knew that. I think Pilate was doing his best to try and save Jesus. When he realized he couldn't, he washes his hands, and this is Pilate kind of taking the advice of his wife. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to declare anything about him. I am going to hand over authority to you. Remember, they had no authority to condemn anyone to death, and this is Pilate saying, I'm setting this on you. The responsibility for this is on you, not me. He's giving them the authority. If you choose to kill him, you do it. If you don't, then you don't. Whatever the outcome is, it's on you. And they take the responsibility. They say, yes, we will take that responsibility. Now, let us look at the Joseph Smith translation. Verse 15, now at that feast is now at the feast. Verse 19, instead of in a dream, it is in a vision. Verse 21, instead of the governor answered and said, it is now and the governor said unto them. Verse 22 is now Pilate said unto them, What shall I do with Jesus, which is called Christ? And all said unto him, Let him be crucified. In verse 24, instead of, but that rather a tumult, we just take out the that, but rather a tumult was made. Then we get at the end, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See that ye do nothing unto him. And then in verse 25, then answered all the people and said, His blood come on us and our children. That's interesting. So Pilate actually gives them the order not to have him crucified, apparently. But not order, no, because he washed his hands of the affair. I no longer have anything to do with this. I think he's giving them a warning. This man is just, you kill him, you're going to have to answer to God for it. And they are taking that responsibility. They are accepting that. So that is where we are going to leave it. We will read a little bit more about Barabbas in the next few videos. We will be turning to Mark next, so I will see you there.